it goes. I'm just trying to adjust my timings a little bit because obviously I can't do it at 11 a.m. UK time anymore. It's too early here. So I'm just thinking maybe around this time, about 5 p.m. UK time. It's going to be after the London close, after the New York Open. It's a bit late, I guess. I have to see how that goes. All right. So anyway, let me just, what I wanted to do before I started was to post my link. So I'm going to do that. Give me a second and then I'm going to start the analysis. I just have to post it into Discord, which is what I'm going to do right now. And if you're not following me, then you're welcome to join my Discord channel. I'm not really active there at the moment. I do post the link like this, as you can see. Everyone. Live stream started now. Let's do that. Wait, the computer's lagging a little bit. All right, doesn't matter. Could be the heat. So on Friday, I was talking about this long. I think you remember. Anyone who's watching my stream will know about this long that I was talking about. Let's have a look at my stream on Friday. So just to remind everyone what I was talking about. And I did cut a video. This is the one. So I'm in sunny El Salvador. Let's have a look at the analysis I did on Friday. Without going into too much depth. There you go. That was it. Okay, let's have a look at that. And not to lose this trend line again, but somehow, you know, just to kind of get really bearish here, fill these gaps, push down as hard as possible without meaningfully losing this breakout line. At the moment, the sell-off is pretty brutal, so I have to let that play out to see what happens. But ideally, the sell-off falls flat at the lows here, and then it comes into liquidity. I'm just thinking, even though you should get a reaction from the value area low in the golden pocket there, and the reaction could be, you know, it could be bounce up and then down. I just think further down the 786 with this kind of intersecting trend line, with the single prints being filled here, would be better. That was pretty nice analysis. Hold on, my battery's low. I think that should be good. We're back. Yes, I'm charging. All right. So that's pretty interesting analysis. And let's just go to the charts now. And look at that. Isn't that amazing? So yes, look at that. What do you say? What do you say to that? And then I kind of made a trade plan here.
See, you would love this. You want to basically take it back up to the value area high of the golden pocket of the 1 to 10 minute time frame. I think
all right, so kind of What do you say to that? Would you say exactly as predicted, or would you say genius? You know, it's all a balance of probabilities. Did I take that trade? No, I didn't take the trade. Okay, I'm not trading at the moment. I've already explained that, but I am streaming as though I am trading. Yeah. In these kinds of trades, when you have a plan like that, you need an alert. You just need to risk your 0.5 to 1%, and you just need to see what happens. And in this situation, you would have taken your, this is your take profit one already. Yeah, because you would have taken a trade. Let's say you got a bit late. You're already up at 1%. You've already hit the value area low, and you're coming into resistance now. The back test of this golden pocket, the price could easily reject. Okay, and that's why you take profit, because if it rejects, you don't want to be caught in a trade which started off well and has gone wrong. You want to be stopped out of that trade, but you also want to make sure you take profit, because you need to win a trade. Yeah, it's better to win a small trade than to lose, break even, or to lose a trade. Yeah, it's better to just win a little bit consistently than to just go for big gains and not win at all. So that was that. Let's have a look at the analysis now on the rest of Bitcoin. Wow, that's a really nice analysis, wasn't it? That was really nice. I do say so myself. I'm pretty impressed by myself. All right, so let me just hide this stuff, and let me just redo this completely again. Let me hide all of these. Let me update the volume. Where's that trend line? It's that one. Get rid of that one. Sometimes I like to look at my old analysis to determine what's going on. Okay, that's the local volume. Just wanted to update the local volume first, just to see if there's any changes to the volume. We're trying to get back into this local value area, which is nice to see. And as you've already seen in my previous video, which I showed, we've had a nice reaction off this back test of this trend line of the 786. So that was quite an important place for the price to find support. Little front run on the 786, but effectively that's what it was. I think the next kind of indication for continuation to the upside, or some kind of meaningful reversal here, will be to re-flip this golden pocket into support. And so at the moment it's not, clearly, because it's just gone through it. We're not finding any respect here, and it's at the value area low as well. So there is a really important zone here for the price to either find support or to find resistance. Yeah, and it's not doing either or at the moment. We found support off a lower back test of this trend line, which I indicated on Friday. We've come down for a little front run of the 786, which is fine, with a really nice reaction. Okay, and now what we need to do is to show strength. Showing strength here would be to reclaim the value area low as support. It's really important to find support here back into the value area. Okay, that would be a deviation from the lows. It would be a deviation from the range. It would be a little fake out, call it what you want, and then we're back into the range. When you're back into the range, you're looking to go back to the top of the range once you're back into the range. And that's really what we want to see. I think it's logical for us to find support here, just simply because we filled the gaps. We've come for a back test of this breakout trend line, and we're potentially putting in a higher low. somewhere around here, which is what you want to see after we took the all-time high. The all-time high was a failed rejection, sorry, a failed auction. And so naturally there's the key level to watch on the way back up. Wherever we put in the lower pivot will be the golden pocket. And so we don't really know where the lower pivot has been put in just yet, but we do know where the golden pocket is going to be. And so whatever happens on the way back up, whatever happens, if we do manage to find our way, that's going to be an area to watch for a lower high. Yeah, it's always possible to form a lower high. Even if this looks bullish or feels like we're putting in a higher low, we could go up and put in a lower high. And so you just got to bear that in mind. Anyway, let me have a look at these higher time frame levels now quickly. Let me have a look at the weekly time frame candle just to see what the... So what can I say? That weekly candle is looking really quite bearish, okay. There's no two ways to put it. It's an increase in volume rejection from the all-time high, isn't it? Yeah. It's a red candle. It's better that it's red than green. If it was green, it would be more problematic. If it was red, red means the bears are in control. The bears have taken control, and they've sold the all-time high, and they've managed to close the price back in the range, but to the lows of the range, but it's still in the range. Yeah, it's looking pretty bearish. And so what we have to see is we'll have to see what happens next. Let's have a look at these monthly candles. Yeah, the monthly candle's taken the monthly all-time high as well. That's not a good sign either. We we might be in a monthly doji here, and that's something to bear in mind. So even though it's looking bearish, we could end up with a monthly doji. If it's green, it would be worse. You almost want a red doji. And even red wouldn't look good either. Yeah, this isn't good. That candle's not good. It's not a good candle. Doesn't mean we're going down. It's just something to keep in mind. Look at this 3-day candle. That was a bearish engulfing from all-time highs. One day and 8 hours to go. So far decreasing volume. So maybe not as bad as it seems. Let's have a look at these 2-day candles. The previous 2-day candle wasn't too bad actually. It closed above the previous low. This one is closed. It looks like it wants to close lower. Okay. Let's put these lines back and let's mark out my levels. Let's put these all the way back up to the top. Local volume. Higher time frame levels, that's what I want. Let's just mark out these weekly levels. So we have a new weekly level there, as you can see. This previous wish, this wash weekly level, I think we're going to get rid of it. Put it down here, and this new weekly level. You see that? Why wasn't that open? Why doesn't that open so I can edit it? I can't edit. So annoying. Whatever. That's fine. Weekly. What's the monthlies looking like? Nothing in the monthly. And the dailies. Let's have a look at these dailies. Get rid of these two. That one can go to the top there. So yesterday we had a green candle. Today it's clearly looking red. That's not a daily level just yet, just because today's candle hasn't printed yet. That's a green candle. It's looking really bearish candle yesterday. It's a swing failure, green swing failure of the previous candles. Looking really, yesterday's daily candle was really bearish, FYI, and that's why we're seeing this sell-off. We have a weekly down here, and we have a daily down here too. Then we have a daily further down, and then we're into a daily. So we have a few dailies that we're into right now. Gonna have to refresh my screen. Just give me a second. Daily, 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 weekly, weekly, daily. There's quite strong support here, slightly lower down. Let's pull that up again. Local volume. We have the volume, we have that. We have the Fibs. Okay. Where's that trend line? Let's put that up there. Trends. Okay, we'll keep those trend lines. Let's have a look and see what the order flow is looking like as well. Let's see if we can find some single prints. We're getting a little bit of bullish CVD right now. So as you can see, the CVD is going lower. The price is going higher. So we're putting in higher lows here. CVD is putting in lower lows. This is quite bullish at the moment. We're above the VWAP, we're above the daily. No, we're below the daily open, but we're above the VWAP. So the daily open is going to be the biggest resistance on the way up, but we're above the VWAP. So potentially we could go up to test the daily open again. We're showing bullish CVD. So this is actually looking to be quite bullish price action right now on the order flow. The price is being absorbed by limit longs, higher limit longs. Okay. Let me have a look and see if there's any single prints. Yeah, there's some single prints here. I'm going to mark them out in chat. And I'm going to mark them on the... I'm going to mark them out so you could write them down. Oh, is this working? Yes. 117906 to 118101. So that's the first group of single prints. And there's another set of single prints here. And two sets of single prints. 118592 to 120712. And then we have a third group of single prints higher up. 122078 to 123297. Marked out all the single prints for you. Let's have a look at the order flow and imbalances. Yeah, we're seeing really nice bullish CVD here on the order flow. And let me have a look at the TPO. We've actually put in some single prints on the way up now, so that's quite good to see. We're getting a little bit of bullish price action here. You can see there's single prints on the way down. I've marked them out. Right, so let's go back to something else. Let's have a look here. All right, we'll go back to the main charts, and I'm going to add the single prints back in on the chart. Find my single prints folder. There it is. So here, naturally, I'm going to have to update my charts because I've got these single prints which I have to now remove. You see that? The single prints filled, and then we saw a reaction. And now that I've got some new numbers for single prints, I can add those back in and change it to my single print line. So let's start at 117906. $118.101. There's your first group of single prints, and then higher 118592. And 120715. Oh shit, that's a big one, huh? That's a big one. They may be a little bit bigger. And 122 a bit higher up here. To 123297. All right. So I've got the single prints in now. So these are basically zero volume areas where the price has slipped without putting in any significant volume. It's single volume, that's why it's called single prints, because the volume it puts in is one number, one digit volume, which is nothing, which is basically zero. And so what you get are gaps in the market where the price has moved without creating any volume as the price has moved through those areas. Naturally, what happens in the markets is that the price always comes back to fill those gaps, put in volume before it continues going in the same direction usually. So in this case, because we're starting to reverse, there is every chance that the price will go right back up to fill the gaps before it continues. Yeah, there's every chance that it will do that. It's a balance of probabilities. Okay, and it's also a good place to see where there's liquidity or where the price is finding areas to find where the price is can find support and resistance. All right, so we have our single prints now. We have our higher time frame levels. We have our local volume. We have our fibs. All right, and the last thing I want to put back in is the naked points of control. So for that, I'm going to go back to the order flow. I'm going to look at the daily levels, the weekly levels. Give it a second to load. So this is the daily points of control, and see if there's any naked daily points of control. This is today. Yesterday's naked point of control. These are all tapped, 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 tapped. No, it's all been cleared. See that? All of those naked points of control. So the only liquidity is underneath us, a bit lower down. Let's go to the weekly. Yep. So we have a weekly naked point of control at 117990. 117990. I'm going to kind of write that in. It's good to mark those numbers out because that's a level of liquidity. And then here I've got another folder where I add those called POCs. Get rid of these ones. These dailies have gone now. Dailies have gone. And then we're just looking for this 117. Change it to my weekly color. All right. So here I have all of my information. I'm going to unhide all of it. Plus the fibs. Okay. And effectively, this is what we're looking at right now. We're looking at black spaces and lines. And the lines are liquidity areas. And so naturally what you can see is the price is coming back into this golden pocket area. We're at the local value area low. There's a daily level there. So we're into resistance right now. There's resistance higher up, as you can see. Here. And then there's kind of resistance lines as we go up, but nothing that really stands out apart from maybe this top one right at the top here, where you've got a daily level and the close of a single prints, the end of a single prints at the top. We're coming into resistance now. It's the back test of this golden pocket and a daily level and the local value area low. Okay, but the price is trying to get back into the value area. Yeah, of the original long plan that I had, which I talked about on Friday. Yeah. And so we got the reaction. That's kind of what I wanted to see. I feel like we're still bullish still, just because the price is doing what I wanted, or what I wouldn't say expect, I'd say wanted. Coming for a back test, which I drew out on Friday. I was talking about the price coming back to test this area. Hasn't hit the 786 yet, so there is a chance to come back down just for one more liquidity grab. There is a chance of that, or this could be it. What next? So look, so this is the key. We've got the reaction. We've come into a back test of this trend line, and now what needs to happen is we need to continue with strength. I'm just looking at the charts now. I think the most important area now is this golden pocket area. We really need to flip this daily level and this 618 into support. I think it's a really important level. Yeah. See, and we've had a little front run rejection off it right here. You see that? It's a really important level. Yeah. That would be back into the value area, but the value area in this outer edge of this golden pocket probably isn't as important as this daily level in this golden pocket. I think if we can do that, whatever happens here, I think whatever happens here, we need to flip this level back into support. And then let me check one more thing. And that's I just want to check to see if the CME gap was filled, because I didn't check that. Yeah. Wasn't much of a gap, to be honest with you. But it was filled. If there was a gap, there was filled. It's been quite a lot of sell volume this week. We've started off so bearish. We've just gone straight down, huh? And usually I find that problematic because you clear the we've already cleared the liquidity. And I think what we want to see here is continued absorption. Possibly for another sweep to hit this slightly lower level. Possibly exactly like I said, I think we probably need to take the lows here one more time and to kind of hit this daily weekly level and another test of this lower trend line, and to actually hit this 786 without getting a 786 front run. Yeah. So even though the original trade plan that I had was correct, I think right now there is also another chance that we go down again, just to pick up more liquidity and just get people more bearish. And then whatever happens, I do want to see this golden pocket area re-flip back into support. And so until I see that, I'm not convinced. So like right now I'm looking at the price. Yeah, there is a possibility that we're trying to find support here. Whatever happens, you need to go up, and then you need to find support. You can't just, this isn't support. What we need is to go up and then come back down to find support. And until we see that, we won't know what's going on. So right now we're kind of trying to find out if this resistance will hold, or if we're going up higher, or if this resistance holds and we're going back down. I see that there's bullish CVD, so we might be range bound in this area for a while, and we might actually kind of go up to go back down. You know, like we could put in some volume here, but I think the next long would actually just be a swing failure of these local lows again, exactly like I drew, or a clean back test of this area. That's what I'm thinking. Without putting a lower high, and that's the other danger. The danger is lower highs, because you have these single prints and you could easily put in a lower high. It looks quite bullish, but actually you end up putting a flag. You end up flagging to go back down again. So we're in a bit of a indecisive area where the price could easily find support here. It's the right place, or we could get continued rejection. And so it's hard to know which. While you see bullish CVD, you're still thinking up, and I've got higher targets which haven't been hit at 130. But at the moment, because we're seeing bearish structure and price action, we have to be mindful that the price could continue go down. But we have seen our first support reaction from support. Let's see if we get continuation. If we do get continuation, the next level would be about 116.5 to flip into support. Otherwise, we're going down for another sweep of the lows, and to see if we can get a reaction from this weekly daily level slightly lower down. So while I had the original long, which was correct, here, that was the correct long. It is possible now that we go down low. The next one could be slightly lower, just a clean sweep. And actually, it'll be a swing failure would be the entry, really. You wouldn't necessarily jump in. You'd wait for the reaction. You'd wait for the swing failure, back off that local pivot for another long. Otherwise, you just have to see what happens here. Ideally, what you want is a reclaim of that level before you enter long again. Right now, what you've got is people taking profit because the price has moved up at least 1% from that original long position that I marked out. Clearly, and so naturally, people will take profit. They'll take profit, and they'll make sure their trade is risk-free in this area. And so we're looking at a little bit of an indecisive couple of days, I think, and anything can happen. It's quite indecisive. Again, looking at the weekly time frame candle, it's looking quite bearish. Yeah, it's looking quite bearish. You're potentially here on the weekly time frame getting a triple top. 1, 2, 3. And that's quite dangerous. Let me just hide these and I'll show you. You've got your 2 pins. 1, 2, one more, lower high. And you're down. You're finished. Potentially. The alternative here is some kind of rising wedge, which is still bearish. You put in a higher high. You can grind up. That we don't know when that will end, because if it just puts in higher lows, higher highs, it could just keep on grinding like that. It's still bearish. Okay. In these situations, you can get 2 outcomes. You can get a blow off, breakout, blow off top, and then it's down, or it's just down. Okay. It still ends bearish when you get these rising wedges. It feels bullish if you break the top, but that usually only ends up in a blow off top. It doesn't usually end up with a continued rally for continuation. That's the balance of probabilities. And so it'd look really bullish, and it would be a really nice alt pump if we got that. But ultimately, it would still end with a crash, however we pump. So we're starting to form some real kind of bearish structure here. I don't know how last week could have ended to make this bullish, to be honest with you, because maybe a higher close would have helped with a green candle, but it's still a pin with increasing volume in the all-time high. I mean, there's no way to be bullish about that. I think what we need now this week is an increase in volume with the prices not moving, or the price is just staying here. If we can get like an increasing volume but the price is still staying here, then that could help us change our bias a little bit. And we're at the beginning of the week, and we still have a few days to go before we can see what happens. Look today, look how much volume is coming out today. So that's actually not a bad sign. Quite high volume and the price hasn't moved, which shows you that there's quite heavy absorption here. That's not a bad sign. The RSI is bearish, as you can see. The CCI is well oversold. So you can see the absorption. Yeah, we're in oversold territory right now, and the price is putting in higher lows. We're getting quite heavy absorption still here. Let me have a look at my other indicators here and see if I can see anything. Buy cycle top. I like to have a look at that. It's pointless because we're so far away from it. Yeah, we're miles away from a pi cycle top. Yeah, we're kind of really, really exhausted. The price is exhausted, oversold. Yeah. Put in another exhaustion level there. Okay, so I think that's Bitcoin. I've kind of marked out all the levels. I've kind of told you what I'm thinking for the next couple of days. Potentially, I'm a little bit bearish on the higher time frame now, but I can clearly see that we're getting some bullish reaction off these lows with some bullish CVD. So I don't think the buying has ended just yet, but potentially on the higher time frames, the weekly time frames, I'm starting to get some bearish vibes just by looking at the way these candles have formed with the volume. We're coming into some really important liquidity levels slightly lower down. they'll probably hold because we're starting to see a big absorption, and then we have to see how this next week plays out. The next 2 weeks are going to be quite important, and then ending the month, we'll have to see how this monthly candle turns out, because for all intents and purposes, it could, I don't know, it's the monthly candle's looking quite bearish to me at the moment. With this kind of, it's looking like a Morningstar Doji at the moment. I have to see how that plays out. All right, so that's Bitcoin for today. I'm going to start streaming a little bit more often, maybe a daily stream or 4 times a week now. I'm starting to stream a little bit more now that I'm here in El Salvador. I've got a bit of time to stream a bit more. You can't really see what's happening in the background, but there is an ocean here. We've got some palm trees. Yeah, I'm in El Tunco, right by the coast in El Salvador.